Maybe let me one final question on this topic of foundations, maybe a little bit more of a spicy one. When should a startup or a company not donate a project to a foundation?
It's a really good question. So I'll start off by answering that with like what have been kind of my own frustrations, right? I'm
Hmm.
like very happy to talk openly about that. Um, I think on the kind of development and deployment side, right? You have to adhere to a governance process related to your releases that doesn't necessarily give you a great capability to like ship often, ship small, and really kind of be, for lack of less cliched words, like a kind of makes it harder to be truly agile and be truly responsive to your users. I know that's a frustration probably shared by everybody. The benefits of that though come from a rigorous QA process and one that accounts for security and compliance and the user's best interests. It's classic pros and cons, right? I think another piece that I found challenging is being someone that's focused on growing our technology, which falls into sales and marketing, right? You have a new set of limitations in how you can speak about your project, how you can present it, from everything from logos to branding, and that can present some challenges, right? A very very specific example is being part of the incubator. If we're showing ourselves as Apache Dev Lake, we have to put in parentheses after incubating if there's signage or anything public, right? To make sure that we're indicating that like, hey, this isn't yet a full-blown accepted top-level Apache project. It's still in the process of being vetted and developed. And I always kind of joke about that's it's like to use kind of a bit of a lame analogy. I would say as a marketer, that's like going out on a date and you're driving a Ferrari, but you've got like a student driver sticker on the back of it, and it's
Yeah,
just like
yeah.
it immediately makes you less cool. It makes it feel less legit. So, it's like subtle things like that have been a challenge, but
Yeah.
ultimately good things, I think.
Well, yeah, it's interesting because I've worked with Apache Foundation on projects before and worked at companies that have had that. And it's interesting because there are certain things that you just don't assume, right? So you donate a project. You're no longer really allowed or should say, the creators of that project. You have to say like the original creators of that project, because then it's there's these weird rules. And here's the thing. There are people who will call you out on them.
Hmm.
And not everyone's consistent about their call out. So it's a very interesting ecosystem. I mean, good and bad. So I think that's a really good analogy though, the student driver logo,
Yeah.
but because you brought up some of the limitations on sales and marketing, I don't know, Maxim, did you know that I actually, because in the open source space, sales and marketing, it isn't always the hot topic.